guys, what's up? It's GVKcollectibles, and welcome to another installment of Freaky Figure Review Fridays. As I said, this whole entire month we'll be taking a look at horror figures and monster figures out through all the whole month, of course, because it's October. One of the best months, I think, ever. So, with that out of the way, we are going to be taking a trip to the Bodega Bay and to see if we could find Andre Toulon's puppets. And as I said, guys, today we'll be taking a look at the NECA Puppet Master figures. Now, I'm going to review all of these ones just because they do come in 2 packs. So, the first pack, of course, we got Blade and Torch. Torch doesn't show up in the first one. I think he actually shows up in the second one, I believe. I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen the first one, but I really enjoy the first movie. It's really fun. Really Full Moon in general, and like Charles Band, with movies like this, are fun. Like Doll Man, the Transfer series is really great. The Puppet Master series, of course, and also like a few other ones like Castle Freak's in there too. And I think along, even though it wasn't Full Moon, Charles Band did help produce the first Reanimator, so that's pretty cool. So, anyway, we also got Tunneler and Pinhead. These two do appear in the first film, along with Blade. Blade is pretty much the icon, I think, of the series, which is really cool. He's a really cool character. Really, actually, my uncle had, because Full Moon actually produced figures of pretty much all their, Puppet Master people on, including other films and such. But I remember seeing a big Blade that my uncle had, and it scared the crap out of me. But he's really cool. He's really grown on me. Torch is really cool too. Both these guys are really cool. So let's move this one out of the way real quick. Let's just take a look at the box right now for Blade and Torch. You get a cool production shot of both of them. I actually think this is kind of a part of the poster, but it's really cool. It's meant to look like the trunk that Andre Toulon keeps the puppets in, of course, which is really good. You got the cool Puppet Master logo right there, along with NECA and Real Toys, of course. Then the top is the exact same as well. And the bottom, you get all the credits of who's worked on this figure, which is really cool. Then you get Full Moon and NECA, which is kind of cool to see them, Full Moon, kind of delve and do work with other companies to produce figures. Then you get a bunch of production shots of Blade and Torch, which look really cool, including all the other puppets. And with the inside, it looks really cool. And this is how the crate, the case actually looks, not crate, but the box actually looks in the film, which is pretty cool, and actually on the original poster as well, which is really cool. You got the Puppet Master and the dude masks right there, and it's really cool. So let's get on to, of course, Tunneler and Pinhead. Pinhead's really cool. I really love him. He's just this big brute. Well, these are actually really, we'll get in a moment, these are really tiny Ultimate figures, but of course you got Tunneler, and Pinhead. Pinhead, not related to Clive Barker's Pinhead at all, we'll get to that, but really cool production shots along with the puppets as well, and very much the same. It's also really cool because there's the added detail that it's different. On the regular one, there's a cat here. In this one, it's kind of cool, little, looks like kind of vials and bags, which is really cool. You get the Puppet Master, and you also get I think a really cool thing is you get this kind of curtain call, because that's what Andre Toulon was. He was just a Puppet Master who would entertain kids, so it's really cool. So you get Puppet Master at the top, and also same credits at the bottom. So with that out of the way, let's get onto Andre Toulon's puppets themselves. Righty, and here we have the puppets out of the packaging, and I actually put on their different accessories just to see how they look, and these extra accessories look really great. So this set is really cool. I ultimately thought these were going to be a little bit more expensive. They're going to be a little bigger, and I wasn't too sure about the 2 packs, but then I remember these are smaller characters, because they're basically puppets. That's what they are. And yeah, they are pretty small. I think they're actually they're on par, or they're a little smaller than the Ultimate Sam, which is really cool. We'll get the size comparisons a little later, of course, compared to other NECA horror figures. But overall thoughts, I really love these figures. They're really cool. and really, really awesome. I mean, it's cool to get, like, kind of these, not necessarily to say Puppet Master is an obscure franchise, not a lot of people know about it, and which is really, really a shame, because it is a fun, like, even though I've only seen the one movie, I've seen people talk about the other films, and they're fun. They're just, Full Moon, I think, is just a really, really fun, like, they just produce fun films that, not to be taken serious or anything. It was actually funny, so, fun fact, I have a spooky fact, that initially Puppet Master was going to get a theatrical release, but Charles Band and them decided, because the home video market, like places like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, if you remember those at all, for kids who are watching this, or for people who don't know what that is basically, instead of Netflix, you had to go to a video store and rent a movie. So, but basically what happened was, Puppet Master got a direct-to-video release, which usually is a bad sign for a lot of people nowadays, but it was actually a great success, and it was actually kind of spawned the whole franchise into being like a direct-to-VHS, like direct-to-video stores franchise, which is really, really cool. And they're really, really fun. Like, the first movie is legitimately fun. It doesn't focus too much on the puppets. I do think the sequel focuses a little bit more on the puppets, but I do really enjoy the original Puppet Master, and I really enjoy these figures. So, with that out of the way, let's get into their accessories, because each one of these sets do come with accessories, so let's get into that really quickly. Alright, as I said, the puppets do come with a few accessories, so let's start with the Blade and Torch 2-pack, because they don't really come with too much. So the first thing, of course, we have this Blade head sculpt, alternate head sculpt, which I had on in the previous shot. It looks really, really good. I love the detail, like there's the little knives, little kind of like screws. I don't know, they like little like knives, I guess, pointing out, which look really, really good. The paint splatter looks awesome. Just in general, the hat detailing looks really, really cool. I really love the kind of like look that Torch Blade has here. It looks really, really cool. Really good detailing on the head sculpt and everything, which is really, really cool. He also comes with a alternate blade, of course, which is really, really cool. Bloody blade to kind of match the bloody head sculpt, and it's just as simple as this. You just pull it out and you put it in, which is really, really cool. I think NECA did a really, really great job with like the accessories on these guys, just because they are so easy to put in and back with the figure, which it looks super, super cool. So yeah, that's the blade right there, which looks really, and you can just take it out like that, which is really, really cool. So Tunnelhead and Pinhead do come with a lot of accessories, which I really, really appreciate. They come with a lot. So with first things first, to just get these out of the way, Pinhead does have these awesome these interchangeable hands that you can put the wrench, and also this kind of ball of acid, which looks really, really cool, really well detailed. Not well detailed, it's this clear piece with a kind of the green, kind of this yellow green at the bottom. Looks like Mountain Dew, kind of. Probably not Mountain Dew, which is you don't want to fall into, but yeah, it looks really, really good. Like, they have the hands look like they have these kind of gauze wrapped around them, which is really, really cool. And actually maybe like kind of imitating a kind of cloth, just because Andre Toulon is just making these puppets just with regular items, which is really, really cool. Also, there's the other hand sculpt. There's also this cool like wrench here, which looks really, really cool. It's actually really well detailed. It's this like pretty much this whole thing is painted gray, but there is like hints of silver dry brushing and even like some kind of brown dry brushing right on top. Makes it actually look like a real tool you could find in like a like in a supply closet or something, or like a garage. It looks really, really, really cool. And I think that's most of his. So here Tunnelhead's got a alternate head sculpt as well, very much like Blade. This one has bloody at the top of it, but the face sculpt looks super, super cool. I love that they managed to kind of like nail the look of these looking very much like wooded puppets, which looks really, really cool. I think the head sculpts on both this and the regular one are really, really well done and really cool. There's also this kind of hook thing, which is really, really interesting. I don't know. I've only seen the first Puppet Master movie, so I don't really know what this one is from. I don't know if this is from the sequel or any other one. So, which is really, really cool. You got this string attached and these two hooks. Very, very cool. Just painted silver, which looks really, really nice. Also, Toulon head does come with an alternate hand, which is really, really cool. So the actual hand that I have on him right now is actually kind of a gun, like a gun pulling hand for this guy right here, but pretty cool. Just, you know, standard detail, nothing too crazy. Looks really, really good. He also comes with a pickaxe, which I think for the longest time this was revealed from NECA, like a Halloween tease last year. Ultimately, I thought they were going to do the miner from My Blade Valentine, which they did, but this is actually, I think, for Toulon head, which looks really, really good. I think it looks really, really great. You got the brown right here, and there's actually like hints of like black dry brushing throughout the figure, which the thing looks really, really cool. You got the silver paint, and also that kind of similar kind of brown dry brushing that you see on the wrench is on this too, which is really, really cool. And then, of course, for some reason, he definitely doesn't have this in the first movie. He must get this in the second one, but Toulon head does have the ability to use a frickin' grease gun, an M3 grease gun from World War II, which looks really, really fun, which makes sense just because the puppets were created during the World War II occupation, so that definitely makes sense. But yeah, it looks, and also Toulon head just in general, he looks like a soldier, which is really, really cool. But yeah, there's a lot of great detail on this grease gun. I think it looks really, really good. It's kind of like a gray with the silver dry brushing throughout, which looks really, really awesome. Then you got the grip right there on the pistol, which the pistol grip looks really, really good. So that looks pretty cool. So yeah. Oh, and also this final one, which I don't know. It's like this kind of it looks. Oh, I know what this is. I think it's like a wood poker for when you're like starting to fire. I think this is actually used in the first movie, if I'm completely right. Probably not, but it's been a while since I've seen the first film. But it's really, really cool. You got this really, really gold paint throughout, which is really, really awesome. Then you got good sculpted detail at the handle. And very much like everything else, there is that silvery, it's like this gray, but you do get like that kind of brown dry brushing. Hopefully that's coming off on camera, but yeah, that looks pretty cool. And that's all the accessories. I think the amount of accessories for these little figures are really, really great, and I think are worth it. So with that out of the way, let's get into, first we'll get into Blade and Torch themselves with their detail, then we'll do Toulon head and Pinhead next, of course. So let's take a look at Blade and Torch. Alright, and here we have Blade and Torch out of the packaging. These are actually probably two of my favorites out of the whole set, just because I love the look of Blade. Blade's a very iconic look. It's very simplistic, but it's very iconic in a lot of ways. Torch just looks awesome. I think it's really, really cool. Because he's kind of got... Ooh, well, Blade fell, but let's take a look at Blade first, of course. So here we got Blade himself, the kind of poster child of the Puppet Master series, which is really, really cool. A lot of cool, like, white paint done. He's actually the first puppet you see in the original film, which is really, really cool. He has, like, it's kind of the same kind of technique and the same kind of cloth. It's the same material that they use for the Frankenstein figures, which is really, really cool. And they also have that really, really cool kind of, like, I wouldn't want to say silver, but just a kind of gray dry brushing throughout to make it, like, pop and look really, really cool, which I think is really, really well done. But yeah, Blade looks super, super cool. I really love him. Like, he's probably one of my favorites. He's also kind of, he's adorable, but, like, deadly. So that's the interesting thing with the Puppet Master figures. So anybody who's controlling the puppets can do either good or bad. In the first one, the guy who is controlling the puppets, it's not Andre Toulon, because, you know, he is using them for nefarious means, so, like, they will be bad guys. But they later become, like, kind of heroes later in the sequels, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I gotta say, Blade, like, there really isn't too much detail to go over, but it's just kind of cool how much detail they were able to get into this, like, kind of small little figure, too. And also, you got, like, where his blade connects is this kind of bronze metal right here where the blade connects, which is really, really good. Same thing with the hook as well, which is really, really cool. Yeah, I really love this, and also, like, the trench coat, he's got a good range, too, which I really, really love. It's a very iconic look, and his also jaw has, like, a hindrance of has articulation as well, very much like the first one, which is really, really cool. Really not too many details to go over exactly, but pretty cool. It's a pretty simplistic figure, very much like the Frankenstein. It has that kind of material, same like that kind of the same kind of rubber, but it's also have that same technique like on the black and white version, which I really appreciate. So here is Torch. Torch is pretty awesome. So you kind of tell like he's got these bullets for teeth, which look really cool. Like he's like kind of like a furnace almost. Like you could see the fire in his eyes, which look really cool. His helmet is like his head, very much inspired by a German helmet, which is really cool. And also he's got the pointy tip too, which looks really cool. Very much like kind of like a World War I German helmet, which is really cool. Then you get like this kind of tan for his coat, which looks really cool. Has a bunch of gray dry brushing throughout, which looks really cool to kind of make it pop. And he has these great pants. Same kind of dry brushing that is done on the blade, and also like the Frankensteins, which are really cool. And he's got like a little logo right there. It's like so much a cool amount of detail fit into like such a small figure. Like you can see my hand right now. He's pretty small, but yeah, he's pretty awesome though. As and always, like his flamethrower right there, you can just easily plug it in, and he looks awesome. Like it actually looks really cool when it's reflecting the light. So with Blade and Torch out of the way, let's jump into Tunnelhead and Pinhead. Tunneler, I think I've been calling him Tunnelhead this whole entire time, and I feel really bad. But Tunneler, here's a close up with Tunneler. He looks really cool too. Like he has that kind of which I really appreciate. NECA had transfer like managed to kind of do that to make the like sculpting and everything look very much like the puppet does in the movie, which is really cool. He's really awesome. Like I really like it. He's got like these black eyes, which is really well done. The skin detailing is really great. I love the army suit that he's designed with, like very much kind of like a German style kind of army suit, which definitely makes sense because the beginning of the film takes place in Germany. And it looks really cool. Like, and these are just cool, like little puppets. Like, it's really cool because you got this kind of like bright green, I think, not dark kind of green, military green, I want to say, with the kind of brown, like brown dry brushing throughout the figure. You also get small details like a metal right here and the gold throughout the figure, and even that has the kind of brown dry brushing that we've seen on this figure too, which looks really cool. Really well done. Also got the boots, which look really cool. Really like this guy. He's really cool and very unique looking. I really like it. Also his head can move around, which looks really cool. Really dig that. So with Pinhead, this guy is kind of big. He's awesome. He's very top heavy, but that's kind of okay. It's not like it's nigh impossible, but he's got this kind of sweater neck around, and this is a really small head, which is really cool. And the amount of detail, I don't know if you can tell of how the close-up is on this, but the amount of detail that they were able to get into the head itself for such a small piece is absolutely fantastic. Very much looks like how he does in the film itself, which looks super cool and super well done. He has this turtleneck, which is really cool. It's this kind of dark brown, I want to say not dark brown, but kind of lighter brown color with very much the same kind of brown dry brushing, black dry brushing throughout to make it look dirty, worn, which looks really cool, which I really dig. Also, once again, his fists too, which are gigantic, which look fucking cool. Kind of got that, like that like it looks like it has that kind of cloth or gauze look, which looks really cool that they were able to kind of translate that to like a plastic, which is really awesome. The pants very similar to Torches, where they are this kind of gray color and they got like kind of lighter gray or white dry brushing throughout. And also he's got the little feeties, which look really cool. So yeah, the detail on both these are really great figures. I really love the look on them, and I love how like diverse each one is. Not one looks like the same or the other, which I really appreciate. They all have their kind of own unique identity, which is really cool. The only one that we're missing from this set is technically the Leech, I think Leech Woman, I believe, who's in the first one, but they didn't put him in this set. I think they just went with Torch because he's a little bit more, I think, a fan favorite, so, but I'm not completely sure. But yeah, the detail on these guys are really good, so let's jump into articulation for each of them. So I'm going to go over each of their articulation one by one. So first, let's start with Blade, of course. He can look up really well because the neck is on a ball, like the head is on a ball joint, so he's able to swivel in and out, look down, which looks really cool. The jaw is articulated. You do have to give it kind of like some force because it is a little, like, not stuck, I would say, but it takes a little bit to move the head. Also, the arms move out. He does have single jointed elbows, which is okay for this figure, just because he is so tiny, and I can't really complain about that. His hook also comes out too, which is really, really nice as well. His hook can rotate just because it is a kind of on a single joint, which looks really, really cool. Same thing with his other arm as well. You can take that out. Then, of course, he does have an ab crunch. He can move side to side, which is really, really cool. You can move his leg about that far, not really too much, just because of the hindrance of the back coat itself. He can actually kick it out pretty far due to the kind of gap in here between, which is really, really cool. He does have a single jointed elbows. His feet move up and down, and he does have an ankle pivot, even though it's very, very tiny. So next with Blade, with Torch. Torch can look up all the way, which is really, really good. You can look down. Jaw articulation as well, which is really, really cool. I really love the look of Blade. I mean, of Torch. Torch actually has single jointed, double jointed elbows, which is really, really cool. Closer, you can get him in a little bit more dynamic poses, even though I think the range on the Blade is really, really good for the single jointed elbows. Same thing. He can rotate his like cannon arm, his not his cannon arm, his flamethrower arm around. He doesn't have any, oh, that's also a disadvantage. He does have no knee joints, so he can't bend his knees, which is going to be okay, because you're going to have, but he does, his feet move up, down, and he does have a ankle pivot, which is really, really good. And I think he can, yeah, he does have an ab crunch, like this kind of like ab crunch on this ball joint, which is really, really good, so you can move side to side, back and forth, which is really, really cool. For Tunneler, Tunneler can look up, down, his drill can rotate, which is really, really cool and a really awesome detail. He can move his arms out that forth. They can go, he does have single jointed elbows, which is very much like Blade, which is okay. He can kick out that far, single jointed knee, and he does have ankle pivot, and he can move up and down, which looks really, really cool. He can also move head side to side. Same thing with Blade. He can move, do ab crunch because it's on that ball joint. So with Pinhead, he had a hard time staying up, so he can actually look up pretty far, which is really, really cool. Look up pretty down. The head is kind of can rotate, because I do think it is on a ball joint as well, but you can't really like move it. Like luckily has this neck joint right here, then you have the arms can move out that far. He does have single jointed elbows. Also, another thing that it will be kind of a problem with this particular figure is the arms do pop off. Not arms, the hands pop off quite a bit, so they can rotate, and they are on a ball joint as well. He do an ab crunch, which is really, really cool. Move back and forth. He does have single jointed knees. He can actually kick out that far. I think they can actually all kick out pretty far, with the exception of Torch. No, Torch can actually do that really too, with the exception of Blade. Blade can't really do it. He can do it, but like due to the hindrance of the cloth cape, the cloak, not his cloak, his duster, it's very much hard to do that, but he does have ankle pivot, and his feet can move up and down. So pretty good articulation for the size of these figures, which I'm really impressed with. So with that out of the way, let's get into some size comparisons and see what they scale with. Here we have the puppets compared to some figures from different companies. Of course, we have Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad wave from McFarlane. We have the Wicked Cool Toys Noble 6, the SH Monster Art Kong, and the Amber Collection Ray Arnold that we reviewed a while ago on the channel, and also the video game Funko Pop Jason Voorhees, just to get kind of a sense of scale for these figures. As you can tell, they are relatively small in comparison to normal 6-inch figures. They are about the size of a Funko Pop, which is really, really cool. So let's compare them to some NECA figures, of course, to see how they scale. Here they are compared to some horror icons in the NECA line. Of course, we have Sam, we have Scar from AVP, we have Ash from Evil Dead 2, we have Frankenstein that we've reviewed on the channel already, Jason Lives from Jason from Part 6, and Ripley, and of course Chucky. So you kind of get a sense of that they're a little shorter than Sam, but they are like roughly a little on par with Chucky, so it is really, really cool to see all these horror icons that we get to see throughout all these different kind of movies, where we got big budget, kind of low budget classics, and also the video store classics as well, which I think is really, really cool that we have this such wider range of horror figures from NECA Toys. here we have the puppets for one final time. So overall thoughts on, well, both Ultimate Puppet Master sets. I think these sets are really, really great. I hope we get to see more Full Moon in the future from NECA, like the Trancers, maybe Castle Freak, of course, and who knows, maybe some more Puppet Master figures as well, because there's a lot of them. So I do definitely suggest, if you're a fan of Puppet Master or Full Moon in general, definitely pick these figures up. I think they're really, really great, really awesome, and they're great to have in your collection if you're a big fan of the Puppet Master franchise. And that's the cool thing too, if you're just a fan of like two particular ones. So say if you're fans of both Tumbler and Pinhead, you can just get these two, or you can get Blade and Torch. So it is really cool. And for like a normal price for an Ultimate figure, you're getting two figures out of it, which is really, really great. I think it's a good deal. So yeah, I definitely suggest picking it up. The details are really, really wonderful. The sculpts are great on them. Once again, hope to see more Full Moon in the future from NECA. And with that, that is the conclusion of this Freaky Review Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. I had a fun time filming it, of course. I always love these figures. I actually got to hand. It's been a while since I actually played with these guys since when I was filming this review, and I really, really enjoy these figures a lot more now that I've had some time to play with them. So yeah, make sure to hit like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification so you get notified when we upload What's in the Box Wednesday, Monday, and Freaky Review Friday, or as you know, Freaky Review Friday today. Also check us out on Instagram and Mercari. All those links will be down below. So with that being said, guys, I hope you have a continuous spooky October, and we'll see you next time. Peace, y'all.